Hey, Jason, Sheldon was saying the other day that with the pause and then how many days off there have been between games, that some of the veterans have had maybe a bit of a challenge in terms of getting up to speed and ramping up toward games. I'm wondering, A, if you've had that challenge, B, how you remedy that, and C, what would the ideal schedule be like in a perfect world?
A lot of questions, a lot of good questions. Well, a perfect schedule, I think, we like when there's rhythm. So you obviously like when there's 3-4 games a week. It has been challenging in the sense where it felt like there's been like stops and starts. And for myself, it goes back maybe even a little bit further with being suspended. So yeah, I think there's definitely, I think I can play better hockey. My line can play better hockey. I think it's good. We're still getting results. I think we're working through it. There's going to be ebbs and flows to a season, and it's important that you know when you have to work on some things, and that's kind of what we're going through now as a team and as a line. But for the most part, we're trying to just continue to get results, work on holding leads, and then in terms of schedule, with COVID and everything, it is what it is, and you have to adapt to it. So I think we'll be fine, and I think everybody's felt it a little bit, but we'll get up and going.
Next up, we'll go to Kevin McGran, Toronto Star. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, Jason, more on the COVID thing. Like, it looks like if all goes according to plan, and I don't want to jinx it, that tomorrow night will be your last game in an empty stadium. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about playing in front of crowds again, like you did on the road? And what's the vibe like when you're trying to create your own energy in an empty stadium?
Yeah, I didn't know that. So hopefully that's the case. I hope you're right. Yeah, it is definitely difficult to play in the empty building. I think it's been probably more difficult this year just because we've had fans and we know how good it is to have everybody in the building. Our crowd's been great. We've been really good at home. So you get that extra juice, especially when you're at the midpoint of the season like we are from the fans. But if there's no fans, we have to find a way to play more emotional and better in those situations. So because you never know, we could get to the playoffs and something crazy could happen and we have no fans in the building. So you just have to prepare yourself for everything. But there's no doubt that we enjoy playing in front of the fans, and the energy you get from the crowd is unmatched.
Yeah, like I said, I hope I didn't jinx things. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Next up, we'll go to Lance Hornby, Toronto Sun. Go ahead, Lance.
Jason, Anaheim's done you guys a favor the last couple of nights, knocked off Boston and Tampa Bay, but just talk about them as an opponent tomorrow night, please.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten our attention. They've beaten two teams that are in our division that we know well, that are very good hockey clubs. So I think that speaks for itself, that they're going to be a team that's going to come in here with a lot of confidence. They have a lot of young players that are having good seasons, and also it's just a team that's playing with a lot of structure and try to make you turn the pucks over and be opportunistic on that. So, but definitely with seeing them beat Boston and Tampa, it definitely gets our attention.
And you're a bit of a hockey historian. What do you think about Keith Yandel on the verge of breaking Doug Jarvis's consecutive games record tonight?
Yeah, pretty incredible. It's hard to play 82 games in a season, yet alone to play, over 900 like he has. So quite an accomplishment for him, especially being able to dodge COVID, which is, doesn't seem like many guys have been able to do. So kudos to him. Congratulations to him. Obviously, anytime you can beat any NHL record, it's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll go to Mark Masters, TSN. Go ahead, Mark.
Jason, do you feel, I know you're pretty plugged into the greater hockey world, do you feel like Morgan Rielly is underrated?
Well, I think internally we know how important he is. I think at times with the big names we have up front, maybe he doesn't get the recognition he deserves in terms of all-star games and stuff like that. I think with the Olympics coming, I think Mo probably had a good chance of making that team. That would have got him a little bit higher profile. I think he's just a constant everyday professional and doesn't go looking for the attention. So maybe that's why he doesn't get as much attention. But yeah, he's a guy that he's been just deadly consistent for us since the day I've gotten here. He's a guy that you're getting every day, and he's a guy that has a lot of respect in this dressing room the guys have for him. So yeah, I don't know. I guess he hasn't gotten those like league-wide recognition of going to all-star games and stuff like that, and that's tough when you have some of the guys we have and the way the format is. But I know internally we value him a lot.
What has stood out to you? I know you mentioned he's been pretty consistent, but what has stood out to you about his season? Because I know Sheldon has appreciated some of the defensive strides he's made. What have you noticed about maybe even his growth just this year?
Yeah, just his willingness to always want to get better and to push himself. He's a consummate pro. He came into this year with a lot of pressure, with pressure of trying to make the Olympic team, pressure of not having a contract, beyond this year. And you wouldn't have known it. He came in, it was workmanlike. And I think, when he got rewarded with a long deal, nothing changed. And that's the reason why guys like that get long deals and you put your trusty organization in players like that, is because of the consistency and the work ethic and the wanting to get better. So I think, especially with D-man, you see them as they get older, they get more efficient and smarter in their game. And I think you're seeing that with Mo, is just, he controls play out there, and he's going to be doing it for a long time.
What do you make of the new lines that Sheldon is experimenting with this week, and how it might be effective for you guys?
Yeah, I think as players, you always like cohesion. You like to be with the same line mates. But in saying that, there's going to be ups and downs in a season. There's going to be ups and downs in a playoff series. So I think it's good to show some different looks, give guys time with different players that maybe you don't get. I think we've seen this year with COVID, just that there's been lots of different combinations. But also when you head into playoff series and you head in towards the end of the season and teams start keying in on you a little bit more, to have the ability to switch lines and to move things around, I think the coach probably feels comfortable with it. Knowing that he's done it before, and the players will feel comfortable with it, knowing kind of how you play with those types of players. So, I like it. I think that it shows that we're, a flexible group, and, everybody can play different roles. And I think that's important.
And last one here, we'll go to Marty Klinkenberg with the Globe Mail. Go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Jason. With Team Canada's team selected today, there were some interesting players on there, but I was wondering what you thought about Eric Stahl, coming at 37 and coming back to play in the Olympic team, and then Josh Hosang, who you spent a little time with, during training camp.
Yeah, Eric Stahl, I have a ton of respect for. He's a guy that I've kind of come up playing with. We're around the same age, and we've played together Team Canada stuff before. So I think he'll bring, tons of valuable experience to that team. Being able to have a voice that's kind of been there and done that will definitely help that club out, I think. And to see that he wants to play, it just shows his passion for the game and why he had such a successful career. So I think he'll be, very valuable to that club in many ways, on and off the ice. And Sanger, yeah, we're proud of him here. I think he's a guy that's worked really hard to, try to change, the narrative around his game. I think I haven't watched him a ton this year with the Marlies, but when I have, he looks dynamic and he looks like he's committed. And he put himself in some uncomfortable positions in the summer where he had to work different and harder probably than he has in the past, and did great. Came here with a great attitude, and when you do that, you win people over. And I think he has some fans in this room just because of the way that he came with his attitude. So we'll be cheering for him to get a gold medal, and we'll be cheering for Canada in general, just being Canadian and wanting to see the Olympics and see Canada come home with a gold. But for Sanger, I think it's a great opportunity, and get an opportunity to show that he's still growing.